Ciao and Josh, oh my dude, welcome to another stream of Las Plumas de Simur. This is Plumas and I'm going to be your host for the afternoon. Salam! And we are back. Officially, we've been back for a week now, but the fourth season on Twitch is kicking hard. And yes, I know it's been a while. I miss you guys so much, but it couldn't be any other way. And let me explain how. I'm gonna explain how and why it couldn't be other way. But I'm so happy to be here again. I'm so happy we've kicked off the fourth season because somehow we've managed to squeeze 4 seasons in like 2 years or something that I've been hanging here on YouTube. And YouTube, I was thinking there was something I have to do on YouTube. This is Twitch. Hello, Mr. Twitch. Please do not be upset about this kind of tiny, brief mental lapses. I am a gobby person, and therefore I kind of like my mouth does not ask my brain in the act of speaking. So that's the reason why. Hello, Rasnabis. Hello, Nana. Hello, Uloko. Oh, so good to be back. I am so looking forward to this fourth season, and I have so many topics to bring, so many topics to discuss, and some of us already know because some of you which are my patrons, and my patrons already know what's coming. The light is being funny, so I'm going to change it like that. That's will be better. I mean, not super better, but what can we do? We have limited options in here. So as always, saying thank you to my patrons for always being there, for sponsoring me, for backing me up, and because of that, one of the rewards they get is to choose what's coming. So they chose this topic and they chose next week's topic. I'm very excited about that. And we're gonna mute Courageous Thesis for now already because you know, Mr. Twitch doesn't quite like me to use like Lance's music, but that's all right. It's a guitar cover and we are saved. We are saved at least for now. And all right, so what have I been doing in this? I have like a couple of things I need to talk about. I have them listed in my secondary monitor. I have them there because yes, I don't want to forget. First of all is that I want to kind of explain to you briefly because as you know, I don't fancy giving details about my personal private life, but many of you don't know this, but I'm not a PhD student anymore. I'm a doctor now. Yay! And actually, all right, no. First thing is first, second thing is second, and then the third one is like the brilliant one to top up this like thing. To crown, there is avalanche of news. So I have a job now, and it's quite regular, stable job, and that means I don't have as much time as available. And because of my job, I tend to travel quite a lot in specific times of the year. September was one of these times, and it wouldn't have been feasible. I did not want to say we're going to start on the very 1st of September, something like that, if I could not carry on with it, and I knew I couldn't. And I'm so happy I did not, because it would have caused me so much anxiety thinking that I had people kind of clinging and waiting for me. That is something that I have like heartache when I do that. And thus, I just listen to myself on my brain for once. Doesn't happen very often, but sometimes I do. And I'm just like, I drew the conclusion that it was better to start in October when I was going to be free. So here we all are. And this is very, very exciting. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. Do you like my mug? This is from a talk I was invited to speak about video games and literature. And it was so interesting. And they gave me a mug, like they gifted me a mug. How cute they are. And so second thing is that, what is the second thing? All right, so I had like a thing. I am so elaborate in English. I simply cannot, but I enjoyed it. So second thing is that I am participating as a partner for Archaeology Day I'm so exciting, with Save Cultural Heritage Group. And this Saturday, we're going to celebrate Archaeology Day with a completely free 3 sessions day speaking about archaeology, heritage, cultural heritage, memory, the professions of historians, historians and archaeologists, with such an amazing team of people that are coming, and you can attend for free. It's going to be on Zoom, and if you want to join, actually, if you want to register, I'm going to leave the link in here, so you can go there, follow, and maybe check if you want to. If you want to go, I've been advertising this quite a lot on my Instagram, but I'm going to leave it here as well, so you can have like a better look at it. Maybe there is some talks you're interested in, maybe there's some people you're interested in seeing as well, and I can promise you it's going to be fantastic and brilliant. I am moderating one of the sessions, and I'm very excited. And also I'm giving a talk, a brief 10-minute talk about this precisely. I'm gonna be talking about Twitch and about the activity of sharing history with the general public, because as far as I'm concerned, and I'm pretty sure this is not correct, but it's the extent of my knowledge, I'm pretty sure I cannot be the only one doing this in here. Hello, Fernie. How are you, Azizam? You good? I'm pretty sure I cannot be the only one doing this in English, because I know in Spanish we have a couple of projects as well. Many of you, because you come from a Spanish audience, you would know, you must know which ones I'm talking about. But in English, or it's like English speaking shows regarding history, I am not acquainted with that many. Is your Instagram functioning as the conference website? No, this is the Instagram of the Safe Cultural Heritage Group, but if I'm not mistaken, the conference is going to be carried on Zoom. Like, it's going to be a link sent to all the either participants or attendees, and we're going to do everything on Zoom. You're watching me from the metro. You are the very best, and I bless you with a kiss in the forehead. Mwah! Oh, Fernie, such a cute creature. Oh yeah. Do you like my t-shirt? Did you miss my t-shirt? I missed wearing that one. So if you want to check that one, feel free. I do invite you to come, because there's so many amazing people that are going to talk in this day, and I'm so excited to be a partner with them. It's just, I cannot wait. It's going to be very good. And the third one, like the final thing I want to share with you, is that recently I started conversations to turn my dissertation into a book. Like my PhD thesis is going to be a book. And I'm beyond excited. It's going to be a lot of hard work, because of course it's different having a thesis that you need to present to some examiners, that you need to fill certain gaps, like to tick certain boxes. Oh my God. Thank you so much for that. Oh, a party of 21 participants. Hi, Salom, Bacha, Khoshomadid. This is Plumas, and this is channel when we talk about history and art history and manuscripts and everything like that. So very much welcome, all of you. Bacha, please, can we looks like you better advertise that meeting again. I know, right? Hello. I think I don't have the pleasure of knowing who you are, Zakob. Can you, or Sachap, I mean, I'm a Spanish person, so I can pronounce actually CH. Can you tell me what you guys do? And I was saying that I'm going to participate in a talk about heritage and culture. So if you're interested in that, I can leave the link again down there. What else was I saying? The dissertation. So my dissertation is going to be a book. There's a lot of hard work to be done, like in the meantime, because it's not the same having a thesis presented to some examiners. There's some boxes to be ticked, and then there's a book that people are actually going to read. And I'm very excited about that one. And so yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to take not that long, but possibly it's going to be. But I just wanted to share it with you, because you're my bachar. You have the right to know. You've witnessed the evolution of the hefty thing that's my thesis, and you've been with me all along. So, of course, how not telling you? And all being said, I don't have anything else to say. Does turning a dissertation into a book involving adding or removing? Yes, and a lot of editing as well, because sometimes you need to add some paragraphs. For example, explaining what are you going to briefly cover. And I mentioned a lot of like side topics. There's a million side topics on my thesis. And maybe you need to add some paragraphs so people understand a little bit better what you're talking to. And hola! And that was my entire Spanish vocabulary. Brilliant. I think hola is such a good thing to start with. So hola to you too. I do educational streams about many things, lots of history, society and environment, as well as a leftist political theory. Nice to meet you. I saw you cover history and such. Yes, I do. And actually, we're gonna start. What do you think, Bachar? Should we start now? Yes, because we need to show the people the lovely Bachar that come from Zakhab's channel, what we do here and what we do best. So, today, what we are gonna talk about, gonna be speaking about the Rab'e Rashīdī and the Jāme al-tavārīkh, or the Compendium of Chronicles. That was Persian, by the way. Sometimes what I do, my expertise is Iranian history, and I do cover sometimes Mesopotamian history as well. So that's it, you got it. And the Jāme al-tavārīkh is one of the most important historical books ever written, and one of the earliest manuscripts, and a personal favorite of mine. Of course it is. But first, and as always, context is needed. And because this is the first English stream of the 4th season, let's say it together to commemorate the beginning of this new season, and because I am beyond excited and just literally over the moon. Art, Iran, Mesopotamia, then yes. Thank you. I feel honored. So, in here, we have something we say. Oh, thank you so much for the photos, Bachar. You are so lovely. We use a lot context. And why is that? Because context is fundamental. We need to know when and where in order to understand why. So, oh my God, so many lovely Bachar are joining the family. So nice meeting all of you. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot. So we're going to start with the when, because for this case particularly, it's going to be a wee bit easier. Like not the easiest thing on the planet, but a wee bit. We're going to start with the when. The when is a good place to start. Oh yeah, have I told you that I have dyslexia? So yeah. Oh, cheers! Absolutely. Cheers to you. I'm drinking tea. What are you drinking? Are you drinking anything, Bachar? This is a black Turkish tea, my favorite. And actually, I am running low on it, so I should get another bag soonish, because I'm gonna be a little bit sad. It's not that I have like a million bags of tea in my house, but I like my black tea, the Turkish one. You're drinking coffee. Very nice as well. I mean, I'm not particularly coffee enthusiasts. Oh, Nana's drinking black coffee. So yeah, the coffee people, the coffee team is here because yeah, you know what? The coffee team is generally misrepresented in my streams because I am a tea person. I don't particularly enjoy coffee. Yeah, manifesto is on my side, but I like having people, like drink everything. Yeah, everyone's welcome here. So as I was saying, let's start with when. This over here, these are the territories under Ghazan Khan's rule. The Mongols came to Iran in the second half of the 13th century. And what? You drink tea too? Yay! Oops, sorry, I wanted to, because I have the moderation a bit high. Why is that area around the lower Caspian no blue? Because it was not conquered. It was oh sorry, Berlin, I'm really sorry about that. I clicked the wrong button. I hope you can forgive me for that. But yeah, I mean, junkie is something you can say definitely in this. I mean, as long as not using it to offend anyone in my stream, you can use junkie perfectly. I would define myself as a tea junkie, to be completely fair. Better be said than sorry. Oh my God, tell me about that. And having some experiences on Twitch, sometimes it's like, better have my guard up. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Ghazan Khan's rule, and I was saying that the Mongols came to Iran in the second half of the 13th century. And how was that? Well, very quickly, in 1222, Genghis Khan conquered Khorasmia after a very, very unfortunate series of choices, like very poor choices on the Khwarezmian side, if you ask me. One day I'll tell you the story, and because you need to know, I'm going to show you Khwarezmia. This is the kingdom of Khwarezmia. I'm really sorry, this was the kingdom of Khwarezmia, because I think the story regarding the history involving the Mongols and the Khwarezmians, it can't be perfectly defined as a series of unfortunate events, because not the best choices were made. I know there's kind of an opinion on my part, but hey, I've worked with this quite long. I'm an art history doctor. I think I have a hint of what I'm saying. I swear, maybe one day I can offer this on Patreon as like a side, or maybe like a proper stream if the chat would be interested. So there's going to be all these territories added to the Mongol Empire, and because I have a friend that doesn't fancy, another historian friend that doesn't fancy me using the empire, we are going to use the proper word, which is the Khanat. The Khanat, a lot of territories are going to be added, so keep an eye on them. And Bacha, please do use maps for your research and reading. They help a lot. Not only because we can locate ourselves on this planet, and maybe this is not a complete map. I would love to have a geographical map, because sometimes the landscape explains so much about historical processes, so much. If you've watched the stream we did on Scythian gold, for example, just the environment and the way the land was shaped changed so many mining techniques, and that is just one tiny example. So please do use maps and get informed about the geography of the places. It does matter. So we've seen when, and now we're gonna see where. Are there surviving sources from Khwarezmia about the conquest, or is it all we know from the Mongols? Actually, there are surviving sources, not many, but they are. And chronicles that were written afterwards by Muslim people that were not Mongols, but lived with the Mongols, and they were like telling the story of how Khwarezmia fell. And there's testimony of that. I don't want to say they agree with me, but they do agree with me. That was unfortunate, to say the least. I think I'm being a little bit optimistic with saying that was unfortunate. So we are going to go back to the Mongols. There we go. We're going to go back to the Khanate. And this is also, in the 13th century, is also the time when the first illustrated books came to be in the Iranian territory. In this case, we're going to talk to the 13th century. And, 1222, Khwarezmia was incorporated to the Mongol territories. We're going to flash forward a couple of decades, and suddenly we look at ourselves in 1251, and we have Möngke Khan at the head of the great Khanate. Möngke Khan sends Utlegu Khan, his younger brother, to conquer the remaining Muslim states to the western territories of Iran, and that was the Abbasid Caliphate of Baghdad. I'm not going to spend much time in the details. Maybe we can speak about that in some other time. But Utlegu Khan performed exquisitely. Like, his task basically was to conquer the Muslim territories. And my God, he outdid himself. He so did. He was good at many things, and war and conquering was one of them. Well, that's like the Scythians are one of my favorite cultures to learn about. Gold technique, clothing, hemp rope to tame horses, and Herodotus writing about them smoking cannabis with little hotboxing tents. We actually have, every single thing I do here on Twitch, mostly, I upload then on YouTube. So you can find the Scythian gold stream in there. Uncut. Like, the thing you see here, you see on YouTube. I don't edit my videos because I don't fancy that. I don't like it, but I do upload them there because I understand that for rewatching things, it's a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Intuitive. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So, Utlegu did brilliantly. Brilliantly, I tell you. And then we're gonna press again the flash forward button, and now is 1256, when the Khanate was established. A smaller Khanate depending on the main great Khanate. this dynasty, the Ilkhanids, many of you don't know, but these are my favorite. I could spend hours and hours and hours of my day just speaking about the Ilkhans. If you follow my project on social media, I just talk about the Ilkhans. If you always ask me, what's your favorite period of history? The Ilkhanate in Iran. Like, there's no discussion on that. Like, we can kind of, negotiate a little bit, but this one is like at the top of my answers because so many interesting things happened during these years. And we have these Ilkhanids and this dynasty of Mongol origin. They live in an area that's very rich culturally. We have the Iranian background on the one hand, then the Mongol legacy, then the influences from China and from Central Asia, and what was already there and came from the West, either from the Muslim territories or from the Mediterranean and the Christian kingdoms. And what we're gonna witness today is the creation of the first manuscript worship and illustrated books in Iranian territory. And these were the first manuscripts with figurative art in Iran. And also a quick digression here, if you will allow myself to do this, because Plumas, which is me, by the way, like, I think I didn't introduce myself. Hi, my name is Plumas, also known as Jaime Plumas or Dr. Plumas, but that's just me. I'm gonna use this one because I quite like it. And so yeah, I was saying that please do allow me a quick digression because Plumas entertains you and also aims to educate you a little bit. Why we don't say miniature when referring to this Islamic illustrated manuscripts. So miniature is, hello Nasser Rose, oh my god Lucía, you know what? We went made like Sakhab and Bacha, the radio channel, and they stayed a couple of, quite many of them are staying with us. So we have a lot of new Bacha in here. Nasser Rose is my vizier, because yes, I am fortunate enough to have a vizier and a secretary and a priestess. And yeah, we've come a long way in this Twitch channel. So yeah, all of you could be welcome. Nasser Rose is possibly the best person in this entire world, and I don't know where I would be without him. So as I was saying, why we don't say miniature when speaking about this manuscript? So miniature is an outdated term. It was used in academia before, when we didn't have words and the discipline was young. And truth be told, the Iranian art discipline, the Persianate art or the Persian art discipline is still in its youth. So welcome to the teen years, I guess. Yeah, so miniature is a word that comes from the European manuscripts that were very mini, like size, they're tiny. And these illustrated manuscripts produced in Iran, they were a little bit smaller at first, but definitely not as they progressed. I think I've told you this quite often, but when I was in the Metropolitan Museum working with the Jāme, which had the pages of that book were massive. And when I say massive, I'm saying very, very, they were huge. And that would be a little bit incorrect calling that a miniature. And so it would be more correct to say illustration or illustrated manuscript. This is an illustration and belongs into an illustrated manuscript. Also, illumination is non-figurative decoration, so we cannot use that either if there are human or animals on the scene. And the new illustrated manuscripts are actually answering to a new visual demand. The Ilkhanate is willing to be represented, and they're going to request being portrayed in multiple media, not only manuscripts. We have ceramics, we have textiles, we have a lot. What is that, loco? There's enough people to fill a small classroom. Hope the people in the back can see. Oh, Zizan, that is super sweet. Actually, we are quite a few. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for staying with me. So I'm going to show you more images. Okay, I'm an art historian, so you can expect a lot of images in here, I'm not being funny, a lot. So I want to show you one of the very first. This is not a, all right, so I have so many that I sometimes cannot, there we have it. Yeah, there we go. So what materials were the illustrations drawn on? Paper. This is paper. It was made of cloth, but it is paper. Cloth and fiber. So as I was saying, the Ilkhanids, the new dynasty, they're going to be requested, like they're going to request representation to legitimate themselves. And plus, in 1295, there is a swift of winds quite noticeable and important. This person that you see in the image, the one that's entering, that's through the door with a golden crown, this is Ghazan Khan, the Ilkhan at the time, and he converts to Islam. So now the official religion of the Ilkhanate is Islam. However, if you were curious about it, the policy of the Ilkhans towards other religions was quite relaxed. They did not care that much. And can we stop at this image a moment? Can you see her? Can you see the inspiration for my, actually the main topic of my thesis, the inspiration that brought everything to life? Simurgh herself is in this image. So can you find her? Do you see her? I'm gonna take a sip of my. Okay, Venom is also here. He's joined the party. Oh, and look, I didn't see your question. Yes, they were very suitable for long-term preservation. Like these manuscripts, the quality and the state of these manuscripts still today is exquisite. There's only one bird you see. There's actually two of them. Can you see Simurgh? I know the people that came to the Spanish streams, because I do like bilingual streams, I know they know where she is. You see the second one now. So which one was the first one you saw? You see two. So the bird I'm talking about is the one on the top of the canopy, the one that looks more majestic. I can talk about Simurgh maybe later, but not now. Not now because so the one on top, exactly. The one on top is Simurgh. So the input of the visual language from Eurasia and the Far East is going to have a great impact in the Iranian workshops. The Mongols keep on moving between winter and summer capitals, and that means workshops migrate as well. They migrate, they travel. The culture of portability exists as a remain for the nomadic lifestyle. And the identity, the visual identity that you see quoted as Persian is going to be deeply rooted with the illustrated book culture. There is no Persian or Persianate or culture of the Persianate without the illustrated book. It does not exist. They're like entwined. They go together and deeply. And illustrated books are a fundamental part of my favorite combination of words, yes, the self-defining narrative of the Persianate cultures. Many books are going to be illustrated, not just this one, great epics, poetic narrative, and then they're going to combine with the tradition of the scientific book, which was already pretty much established, but then these scientific books are going to be, they're going to be started with illustrations, and along comes the narrative illustration. And what's the difference between those two? Well, the narrative illustration, these kind of illustration, they are accompanying stories. It could be fiction, but it could be actual history, like this one over here. And now, let me introduce you to one of the most, where do I have my, all right, so the remainings are not amazing, but what's that local? Illustration must make the process of recopying books effectively impossible unless you drop the pictures or commission a new set of art. I am unsure if I'm understanding your comment properly, but actually copying manuscripts is something that is done, and the imitation of the illustrations is something quite common in the art of the Persianate. When you are copying, say for example, a volume of the Book of Kings of the Jāme, you would copy as well the illustrations, and that's the reason many illustrated books look alike. And it was something that was requested, that it was something that was looked for. Is that what you mean? They were very good illustrators and copies and miniaturists, so it was not that difficult for them to do. Again, it was something that was looked for. It was like willing. People wanted to have copies that looked alike. So there was not this conception of being original or being like having a twist of your original art. At this moment, it's not there. It does not exist. I mean, yeah, for you definitely, and for me, of course, it would be super difficult, but it was not for them. Trust me with this one. So as I was saying, let me introduce you to one of the most important workshops in the history of the Ilkhanate in the history of the world, I dare say, you have to know about this place. So important for the production of books in 13th century. Bocha, welcome to the Rab'e Rashīdī, which is in a ruinous state, and I have nothing better to show you. I'm gonna go through some pictures now, but it's completely destroyed by now. This was a major urban complex in the eastern suburb of Tabriz, which was the capital of the Ilkhanate, and it was founded in 1307 under the patronage of someone who I already know, which is Ghazan Khan, and directed by a character as charismatic as Ibn Sina and as brilliant and scientific as Nasir ad-Din Tusi. We are talking about no other than Rashid ad-Din Hamadani. Notice any familiarities between the name of the place and the person, Rashid ad-Din Rab'e Rashīdī? That's because, well, the Rab'e Rashīdī was named after him. It was his complex. The Rab'e Rashīdī was so close to the Mehran River and Bocha. It was massive. Now, unfortunately, we don't have, I mean, like, this is what remains of the Rab'e Rashīdī. So I'm going to ask you to do like a powerful imagination exercise, because this is what remains. Like, this is Tabriz, actually. This is what remains now. Not much, I know, not much. I have another perspective of the picture, if happy to oblige. Ta-da! So yeah, we're gonna have to, believe in our power of imagination. I have some reconstructions and some drawings. I'm gonna show you some of them. Yeah, we can start with this one, for example. So it was set atop a hill, and the complex was surrounded by ramparts and comprised, it included two parts. There was a monumental entrance leading to the main section that was in the back. The entrance had a two-story portal flanked by minarets and led onto a courtyard used to adjudicate the weight of the bread that was distributed as part of the pious foundation. Because Rashid ad-Din was something very pious, it was very religious oriented, and in here Sufism, mysticism and religion were a thing. They were important. There was a sanctuary over here. Actually, I'm going to start listing what there was, because they were these. Please do imagine this was a petite city. It was a city in miniature, and not so many, if I must say so. There were 4 Ivans that was set around the courtyard that were linked by a 2-story covered arcade that was used to house distinguished visitors. And an Ivan, or Iwan, in case you don't know, is a Persian word to refer to a square-like space that's open. Imagine a room, a perfectly square room that has lost one of its walls. It's open to a courtyard, and this is a space, and in there multiple activities could be carried out. You could dictate law in there, you could actually teach a class, you could meditate, you could just rest from the day. They are quite multi-purpose and very multifunctional spaces, and they're very popular in Iranian and Central Asian architecture. Maybe the lesson here is that if there's anything you want to leave to posterity, you should immue it inside stone walls in the center of your palace. Maybe, yeah. What else? Oh, so the main section of the complex had a hospice, a Hanukkah for Sufi gatherings, and a residence. Literally, Hanagah means the place. Khane means house in Persian, and Ga is a place. It means place. So the place of the house, it's a residence. And this refers to an Islamic institution, and physically, the physical institution. And this principally is reserved for Sufi mystics that meet there. They study, they assemble, they pray together. It's their space. Normally, they are leaded or they are guided by a Sufi master in there. But also there was a hospital in there and a tomb complex. Who was the tomb for? It was a tomb for Rashid ad-Din. And these elements were designed to provide for all the physical and spiritual needs of the residents and the visitors, and they were complemented by other services. There was a hammam in there, that's a bath. There was storerooms, the fountains. I have another reconstruction of it. this is more or less how the entrance would have looked like this massive entrance that would lead onto this central part. Like, it was huge, but let me tell you, it was huge. And the cherry on top, or at least what I believe and feel is the cherry on top, is that the Rab'e Rashīdī housed an atelier for book production, and it was dedicated to the production of illustrated books. The original endowment provided for the annual copying of a 30-volume manuscript of the Quran and prophetic tradition entitled Jāme fi hadith fi Rasul, which is the history of the Prophet and the religion. These appendixes were overseen and commissioned in there. So we have actually sources that speak about what was copied here, and most importantly and interestingly, how it was made. So these actually were overseen by Rashid ad-Din himself, and in these manuscripts were carefully crafted, and everything from materials to the proceedings was carefully orchestrated. And for example, they wanted Baghdadi size paper with a neat script. Baghdadi size speaks of a particular measure of the paper. I cannot tell you what the measure is, I'm really sorry. But then they planned, when the book was finished, they gave it a leather binding, and then they would place it in a box. And upon completion, the manuscript, hello Kudo, how are you? What time are we in at this minute? When this was founded, it was 1307, so very early of the 13th, it was the end of the 13th century and very early 14th century. Hello Kudo, how are you doing? You're welcome. See, also, if I'm being a little bit too fast or whatever, you can stop me and ask me questions, because I would love to answer the questions you may have. Sometimes I don't have the answer, or at least I don't know it by heart, so bear with. I'm just an art historian, very passionate about this. I was saying that once the manuscript were done and were placed in boxes, they were registered by the superintendent of the endowment and the judiciary of Tabriz, and then from there they flew to another cities, of Islamic cities, and the copies made in Arabic, they went to Arab lands, and the Persian copies, they were distributed into Iranian territories. And then they would deposit, like, you could actually go to the madrasa, to the school in here for consultation and copying just by leaving a deposit. This was so hyper functioning. It's amazing. How am I doing? I'm actually very good, Kudo. I'm very happy to be back on Twitch again. And today we made a lot of new friends, which is something exciting. And this is very happy that you can pop by. It's always good to see you here. And now what we're going to see is actually the jewel of the crown, if you may. It's one of the most important historical manuscripts ever copied in, when I say history, I mean the history of the world, because sometimes these places tend to be forgotten, and it's absolutely not fair. What we're going to talk about for the second half of the live stream, Bacha, is the Jāme al-tavārīkh, the compendium of chronicles. And let me start with this image, because it is gorgeous from the G to the S. Is beautifully performed. And do you remember what I said before about how the visual language of Central Asia and China was so important for the Mongols? In here you can actually see how the peonies, without these blooms, like this carmine reddish looking blossoms in there, these are pretty much straightforward copied from other Chinese sources. And the architecture in here, it's quite Chinese oriented, and the people, they look like the Mongols did, which is something beautiful. These manuscripts are so important for us as well, Bacha, because they help us understand things like clothing, attire, and also horse trappings, how the horse was saddled or not. It's brilliant and magnificent. Now, what is this image? What are we seeing in here? So there's a legend of a place that's just gone through generations and so misinterpreted. But this is Iram of the Pillars, which is a mythical place that never existed, and it's not sometimes I've seen it called the Atlantis of the sands by very orientalistic historians. It's not Atlantis whatsoever. Iram of the Pillars never existed, but they thought it did. So Iram was supposedly a paradise. So in here, to indicate how paradisiacal everything is full of plants that are blooming. We have water running behind this tower, this beautiful architecture all coated in colorful tiles. So yeah, this is Iram of the Pillars according to the person that composed it. So what is the Jāme al-tavārīkh? And I'm gonna go through images because I have so many I want to share with you. This is I'm going to explain to you what this is in a minute. I need to do the introduction first. So this is a historical work composed between the very early 1300s and 1310 by Rashid himself, who was, I don't think I've mentioned this, but he was actually the vizier for Ghassan Khan, and not just Ghassan Khan, but Ul-Jaitu. Ul-Jaitu is going to be so important later on. Ul-Jaitu is the son of Ghassan Khan. So we have Ghassan, who was the person that actually founded the Rab'e Rashīdī, and then, Ghassan Khan passes away, and then Ul-Jaitu comes into power, and he continues to fund and to give money to Rashid ad-Din. Although the ending of the story, let me tell you, just for a quick moment, is so dramatic. Like everything went southwards and downhill and disastrous. It was a catastrophe, basically. But in the meantime, the Rab'e Rashīdī is good and strong, and we have it. It's producing manuscripts, and these Jāme al-tavārīkh was actually commissioned by the rulers, by Ul-Jaitu and Ghassan Khan. The work is a compilation of materials not only on Islamic and Persian history, but also on the Mongols and all the people they came in contact with through time. And this is only one of the many reasons this is so important, because it's a history manual written from the point of view of the Mongols and the people they had in their surroundings, rather than being just another encyclopedia that we inherited. I was not there, that we have inherited from Greco-Roman culture. No, this was made for the Mongols and from the Mongols' perspective, and that is brilliant. Here in the Jāme al-tavārīkh, we can find the Turks, the Franks. The Franks was how they called the Westerns, the Farangi, which currently in modern Persian, Farangi means foreigner still. So yeah, for the Mongols and the Persians, all the Farangi were the same. Didn't matter which part in the West they came from, they were Farangi. We have the Jews, we have the Chinese, we have the Indians, and this is why the Jāme al-tavārīkh is called the very first world history. And I do like that. I do agree, and I enjoy it, because it really aimed to be like worldwide. And truth be told, despite there is no reason to doubt that Rashid ad-Din contributed, he was like the author of the Jāme al-tavārīkh. It's mostly a collective effort in the sense that it was partly carried out by assistants. Never forget the research assistants. I feel it would be very unfair to not name them here, because it was not just Rashid ad-Din who did everything. He was aided by many people, and so yeah. So what do we have in the Jāme al-tavārīkh? Here we have 4 main sections, and they're very different. They vary. They do quite vary in length. The first one is Tarīkh Ghazānī. That's the most extensive part, like the longest, and Tarīkh means history, and Ghazan means of Ghazan. So this was, of course, a history of the reign of Ghassan Khan. Your German and old texts often vaguely speak of the people from the east, so I have been wondering, hey, you came to the right place, Art Berlin. Like it's very difficult for me to pronounce your name in English, so I can use the name in English, so I might switch to Spanish when doing that, because Berlin does not do it for me. At Berlin, it's like easier for my throat. Spare me a thought. I am a Spaniard, and definitely English is not my mother tongue. So in the Tarīkh Ghazānī, which means the history of Ghazan, we have the history of the Mongol and Turkish and Turkic tribes. Stop in the name of love. what do I say? What do I mean when I say Turkish? The real original quote-unquote Turkic people that came from Central Asia. Not the Turkish people that are currently in Turkey. No, that came actually afterwards. The Turks originally came from Central Asia, from a part that we call Transoxiana, a little bit southwest actually from that. So that is what I mean. We have the Turkic people, and I don't know if you are familiar or acquainted with Iranian history, but the Timurids, the Timur dynasty, they were of Turkic origin, for example, and they are nomads from that area of the world. So do not please think of Turkish as in like modern day Turkish, rather like couple of centuries before that. We have the history, we have the genealogies and legends, we have so much of the mythology of the Mongols. I don't know if you, oh my god, all right, mythology is my jam. On toast with tea. My bachar called me mythologist because I did write my research. My PhD was on mythological birds and dragons. So mythology is like my thing. I'm not gonna dive onto it. At last I had problems with the connection. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really happy that you can't come and join us now. Is everything good now? Like you can actually see it? I have totally come to the right place. Oh, that is so cute of you to say. Thank you. I'm really happy you're enjoying here, the content. We are very happy to have you at Berlin. So then, the best and unique mythologist. You are the best and unique Lucía. Oh my god. I squeeze your head like, ah. So, the legends of the Mongols said that the Mongols came actually from the union of a white wolf and a blue deer, or is it the other way around? I don't know. It was a doe and it was a wolf, but I don't remember the colors. Blue and white are important. Where the Turks or Transoxiana originally sedentary or nomadic? They were nomadic tribes. They were nomadic. Also, we have the history of the Mongols from Genghis Khan, who is like the origin of everything for them, to like up to the death of Mahmud Ghazan Khan. This is just in the first part, and then it follows the history of the reign of Uljaitu until 1310, but unfortunately we don't have a copy of that, and that is very sad. It's very, very, very sad. And then we have the history of the non-Mongol peoples of Eurasia, like from the time. This is so cool because the mixture in here is incredible. That's the reason I'm keeping this image and the ones following in here on purpose, because this universal attempted history counts from the very same time of creation, and they follow actually the organization of the work of an Abbasid historian, which is al-Tabari, which is one of my favorites, of course. And his history, like al-Tabari wrote a book that was called Qisas al-Anbiya, mostly it's translated the history of prophets and kings, and they basically, here in the Jāme al-tavārīkh, they mixed up everything. We have the history of the Mongols, but we have also the history of creation, and with all the Muslim prophets. This one is the Prophet Salih, and in this episode, he is making a female camel sprout from a rock. Yes. Just like it happens. It happens. Sometimes it does happen, so that's what we have in here. But we don't just have that. We have also episodes from the Quran and the Bible. Could you guess what this is? Because it's amazing that we have it in a book produced under the Ilkhans, and it's just, oh my god, it's one of my favorites because of what it means. I'm just very happy I'm back on Twitch, honestly, I cannot hide it. This bachar is the announcement of Gabriel, the angel, to the Virgin Mary. From the Bible, indeed, from the Bible and from the Quran. He's not Jesus yet, not just yet. But this appears in a Muslim book produced under the Ilkhans with so much respect, taking it as part of history that was imported. Exactly, it's the prequel to Jesus. But these images are so respectful with this, and any fans here, any fans and followers of the film The Prince of Egypt, what we have here is actually Moses being found by the pharaoh's wife, the queen, with all their friends when they were, having a bath in the banks of the River Nile. I know it looks like a coffin, okay? It looks like a log. It's not. It's supposed to be a box, but in there, supposedly, in there, there's baby Musa. How do you say the name of Musa in English? I think it's Moses. Is it Moses? Because I know in Arabic and Persian is Musa, and then in Spanish is Moisés, and I want to believe it's Moses, right? Thank you, Arlene. So in here we have Musa being found, and it's like an ark. Yeah, kind of. And it's found by the pharaoh's queen, and it's just, oh my god, so many things to comment on this one. Can you see the swell and the movement of the waves of the Nile is so heavily inspired by Chinese art. It's taken directly the visual references from the Chinese paper drawings and textiles, and they're copying it and adapting it in a different way. Hello, Pichu, salam, azizam, yuhubi. And this twists and twirls, the foam that's later, like these waves that slowly and tenderly crash in the river. These foamy parts are going to be incorporated later into all the beings that also belong into mythology. And yes, I am talking about dragons, because I cannot do a live stream without mentioning dragons. Everything's better with dragons, and we know. So you see all the visual references. In fact, these are pretty much Chinese looking like, and this was on purpose. And I'm going to show you, that sometimes people are asked what your favorite piece of art is, what's your favorite painting, what's your favorite sculpture, what's your favorite piece of architecture. Actually quite varies, but this one that I'm going to show you is my favorite piece of art produced in history, and it is beautiful. This is Jibril speaking to Muhammad, the prophet, and everything is beautiful. Jibril looks like a king or a queen wearing that golden crown, and in fact the wings sprout directly from their arms and not from their back, because this image is based on a creature that is very important in Chinese mythology. It's called the Immortal. It was kind of a representation of a soul of the ancestors, but this is what Jibril looks like in here, and it's gorgeous. I'm a big fan of Jibril and representation of Jibril, my long term, which I can tell you, but this one is my favorite. And actually you can see Muhammad in here. First of all, you can see his face, and you can see how pretty much he's humbly dressed, but in a very much Mongol-like way. They put on the turban because for them the Arabs wore a turban, and also you can see his hair falling down because he was a custom among the Mongols to have the hair like long, black, and just worn out, like as a sign of respect and age. Actually, uloko is never been, history-wise, it's never been taboo or forbidden strictly. In the Quran, there's nothing mentioned about it, but it says in one of the hadiths that God is a word that can be translated as creator or an artist, and only to him corresponds creating art. And that has led to different schools of thought, and some of them think that not just the representation of Muhammad, but any representation should be banned, because it's only corresponding to God to create something that emulates life. So these schools of thought are actually like current, like spread through the globe, and they have been through history. They have generated quite anachronistic art. However, all the schools of thought did not consider this as sinful or worrying. For example, let's compare what's happening here now with what's happening in Al-Andalus, in the Iberian Peninsula. In there, figurative art exists, but it's not as common, whereas in Iranian territory, there's a lot of figurative art. So it does vary. When in Islam, in Iran, the Safavids come, they establish a Shia creed and the Shia faith, and they do represent Muhammad and his family, but they cover the face of the Prophet because they consider that it's a sign of respect. They don't want to show the face of the Prophet, so they put a veil on him. But actually, it takes as much as like a quick Google search to see that Muhammad is widely represented. It was not thought to be sinful or taboo. It's very often, it depends on the school of thought, the people at the time, and the geographical area we're following. That's actually a very good question. I got asked that a lot. And if you are curious about that topic, I do recommend you to read anything written by the real expert on this, which is Christian Gruber. She's a magnificent art historian, and she knows so much. So if you want to Google her name, look for anything she's written. It's going to be super enlightening and educative. I do encourage you to read her. It's so fun reading Dr. Gruber. So what else do we have? I show you Moses. Oh yeah, something incredible of the Jāme al-tavārīkh is because after all, it was produced in Iran, and again the mixture. Again, this eclecticism, this encouraging feeling of let's just add everything and incorporate everything to our discourse. May I remind you, this was an official book by the Ilkhans. This was the official history, and they just added everything. They wanted everything. Everything was cool with them, so to speak. They wanted to incorporate everything to their discourse. And what we have, alongside prophets from Islam, figures from Christianity, historical tribes and historical cultures, we have this. And this is the mythical history of Iran, because they incorporated the Iranian kings in the Jāme, in the Book of Kings, as if they were real kings of Iran. And this one particularly is my bloody favorite. This one is Zahog, the evil serpent king. If you which are interested in what I'm saying, I have a playlist where I am reading the Jāme. Just gonna can someone use the command, like I think it's links or social, I think it is. Yeah, if you want to look on on the link tree on Patreon, I have a playlist on YouTube as well where I am reading the Jāme, the Book of Kings, and I tell you all about Zahog and all other characters. We love that book. Actually, that book was the main reason I am here on Twitch, because I wanted somewhere that I could read the Book of Kings freely and unjudged. So there you have it. So you see, visually, everything is kind of joined and is very coherent, because they are using not only the mixture of the Chinese and Central Asian, also their own way of representing their kings. And here, Zahog, which is the king enthroned, basically looks like a Mongol king and sits like the Mongol kings do, and is wearing the robe that Mongol kings wear and wearing the crown that Mongol kings wear. It's just, I love this book so much. And oh, of course, another favorite of mine. This is a representation of the night journey, the night ride of Muhammad and Buraq. If you're not familiar with that happens, basically Muhammad took a trip riding Buraq, which is a mythical creature. Supposedly, it did not have arms. But in here, we have a quite particular and strange, odd but gorgeously looking Buraq, and it has a full torso. It looks like a centaur. Buraq only had a human face, but in here the Mongols said, why not? We're not only gonna give these creatures a torso, we're gonna give it a second torso on the back, because you can see from its tail a fully prepared and coated warrior is coming out. I have no idea what that means, but Sagittarius has this too, but in the shape of a dragon. I am digressing in here. Still, in this moment, this is when Muhammad reaches the gates of heaven and the angels greet him and give him milk to drink. It's beautiful. I might speak of the Mirashnome at some point, which is this night journey. I need to think. Also, I do have Patreon. I do have a Patreon page, and my supporters, my family of Patreon, actually get to choose what we do in the following streams. So if you want to check that one out, feel free. If it pleases you. What else can I show you? Oh yeah, I was saying that we have a lot of history and religion and mythology and legends, but we do have also contemporary events and past events. This is a battle between the Rasnabis and the Indians, and in here you can see, well, this line of the mountain is just basically copied from a Chinese drawing, and it's gorgeous. As I was saying before, these manuscripts are of such an importance because they show us the garments, and so much can be understood from seeing these images. The power of manuscripts is unconceivable. I'm never going to stop saying that. And in here you can see how warriors went to battle. We have the drummer on the first line, we have the archers, we have the riders commanding the troops, we can see the quiver, the hunting bows, the chainmail, the ropes on top. It's just beautiful. And we can also see other animals, not just horses. Do you like elephants? This is again Mahmud of Ghazna fighting the Indians. Mahmud was such a character. I can speak about him some more time, but Mahmud of Ghazna was, wow. He was an intense laddie. Not a bad person, I think. Never got to meet him, but yeah. But see, in here, this is basically a portrait of how these people, I mean, not the Rasnabis, because this is not historically accurate, but the Mongols at the time, how they were dressed up as like, I can't English today, how they dressed for battle and how their armors look. Priceless. This book is a gift, and when I was teaching, I taught this in class. This book is a gift. We have no idea to what extent that sentence is true, but it is a gift. Oh, and I just want to show you this one because it's really funny. I don't know if you are familiar with the episode of, I don't know the name of this person in English. In Spanish, we call him Jonás, and in Arabic and Persian, they call it Yuna or Yunus. So I'm guessing it should be something like Jonah. So Jonah is swallowed by a whale. But of course, the Ilkhans and the artists from the Ilkhanate, they never saw a whale. So what they did, in this manuscript at least, is drawing a giant trout, a giant fish. Because they just thought, well, I never saw one, but they told me. I mean, rumor has it that a whale is basically a massive fish. And I know how a fish looks like because I do eat fish. So what I'm going to do is just enlarge that animal, and there you have it, a whale. Brilliant. I did not mention it, but there's actually 2 copies of this manuscript. The first one is kept in the Edinburgh Library, which is the one I saw. I had the chance to go and flip the pages and see it, and I nearly fainted because I loved it, every single bit. I saw the Annunciation live, like in front of me, and I was just like, it blew my mind in a million tiny universes, like a supernova busted in my brain. And then there is a second one which is kept at the Khalili collection, and if I'm not mistaken, this one is from let me check my notes. This one's from the Edinburgh manuscript. Yeah, an interesting way of depicting water, yes, as well, very plain, very much like, but still we have these waves, like lined out waves, and this kind of semi-circumferences spread through it. And this, I'm guessing, oh, actually, I have another one. This one you are seeing right now is this one is from the Edinburgh manuscript, but this one is from the Khalili collection, and this is also Yunus being swallowed by the whale, and this one looks like a freaking dragon, if you ask me. It's much more monster-like, and I love this one. The detail, the beard, the scales, how do you call it? Is it the gales? You know, can you beautiful English speakers help me, is the part through the fish breath with. Is it gals or gales? I knew this one. Gales. Okay, thank you so much, Uloko. You see, sometimes I actually can't English. Sometimes from 10 to possibly 6 every day. And so yeah, in here you have very different depictions of it, but copies of the same manuscript. What else? Also, we have, I just kept this one because I like the depiction of the court and because I love the falconer. You can see how the falconer is distinguished. He actually has that is a fly. He has the falcon, and also he has a dead bird hanging from his hip because that is the prey the falcon has captured for him. And I just love it. Oh my god, I love this book. I love this manuscript. I love everything about the Ilkhan. I know. As I was saying, in the Jāme al-tavārīkh, we have Islamic dynasties, we have Persian dynasties, we have the caliphs from the Orthodox caliphates, Rashīdī, Umayyad, Abbasid, Fatimid caliphates, history of China. We have actually a history of Europe, but primarily, which is something that is really fun, because when Western people do history of the East, it's like the East and pretty much is it. But when they do the other way around, it's basically the same, because they said the Europeans are basically the papal state, the Vatican and such, and then the Holy Roman Empire, period. Full stop. This is where they stop. They just don't care. They kind of know there was a city just there that was called Rome, that was kind of important, they say, but that's where they stop, and it's hilarious. We have also, supposedly there was a geographical compendium, like it was the last part of the Jāme al-tavārīkh, but that's completely lost. Like any manuscript made regarding that is absolutely lost. We don't have anything, and we know of it by other copies and other people that actually saw it. I wanted to show you something apart. We've seen quotes, we've seen animals, we've seen people, but nature was also very, very important. And once more, I want to draw the attention, please, towards the respect and the eclecticism of this. And what I mean is that we've seen in the same book coexisting and represented in the same respectful way Muslim history, Christian history as it is, like history of the Mongols, and then we have this, which is history of Buddhism. This is the grove of Jetavana, and in the grove of Jetavana is where Buddha received enlightenment and illumination, and again is in the same manuscript because it's deemed as important as well, as important as Virgin Mary, as important as Muhammad and Jibril. This book is the best thing in the entirety of the world, and I cannot stress this enough. And also we have architecture. This is actually very fun, at least for me, because this is a mausoleum, and in here is another place that's important for Buddhism. Buddha went there and visited, but of course these would not be this Islamic looking. They will be different, but they represented it as a mausoleum that they knew of, which is the dome is very similar to that of Sultaniyye. Oh, that's going to make a little bit later. Was that Kuro? How Europeans saw the East, some kind of Arabians, Indians, and Chinese. Yeah, basically all mixed together. When Europeans see the East is either Chinese or Muslim, and Muslim is like Islamic, as if there were not many differences, but you know. Yes, you can also see pieces of architecture, so the attention is not only drawn to battles or only to like kings enthroned. There's nature, there's biblical episodes, there's Quranic episodes. It's just, I think I can all summarize it better than saying that this book is a gift. And this book actually shows not just the personality of the Ilkhanate, but what they deemed and esteemed important, what they wanted to gather in their world history, what they were interested in. And I do believe this is a gift that the Rab'e Rashīdī left us, and not many people know of the Rab'e Rashīdī outside the academic world. So now you do, and now you know not only about Rashid ad-Din, but also about his masterpiece and his assistants as well, of course. And for last, the only thing I can say is that this is beautiful. I'm gonna finish off with Muhammad and Jibril because, again, my favorite piece of art ever made. I think is beautiful in so many ways. And actually, since you made it, I'm very proud of you, Bacha. And since you made it to the end of the stream, I'm going to share with you, this will be on YouTube as well on the description below, but I'm going to share with you a link to a website that has many of his images saved and digitalized, and you can check there, you can zoom them, you can just spend hours looking at them, as I did for my dissertation and just for fun, honestly. And yeah, this would be it. And now, as always, we go to the question round. But this was everything I wanted to share about. Definitely not everything I can say, but everything I wanted to share about the Ilkhans and the Rab'e Rashīdī and the Jāme al-tavārīkh. If you have any more questions, this is the moment, this is the time. I'm going to take a sip of my tea and a sip of water. And you hear my stomach because I'm quite hungry. So if you can hear that as well, well, it's not venom that's growling, it's actually my tummy. Oh, the Jāme al-tavārīkh, gorgeous, beautiful, magnificent. I'm very happy I got to share this with you. And if you don't have any questions, then that's everything for now. Thank you so much for joining me, Bacha. Let's play our closing remarks music. I love the closing remarks sentence. I think it's very fun to say. So, Bacha, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Thank you again, Zakob, so much for that raid. And thank you to all the Bacha that stayed, which actually there's many of you, and I'm very happy. I hope you enjoyed what I show you. My name is Plumas, and I am here once per week. But next week I'm going to do a Spanish live stream and then an English live stream. So if you want to turn it on, you can also follow the project on the social media. I have, like Twitter and Instagram and all that active in there, but I have them. And yeah, in here what you can learn and enjoy with me and all the community is history, art, mythology, and just many things around Iranian and Mesopotamian history. And that is the territory we cover. It's been of my biggest pleasure being here with you. I'm so happy to be back, Bacha. Yes, the 4th season has started and there's so many beautiful things that are coming along. Have a nice weekend, you too. Thank you, Nana. I hope you have a very nice weekend too. And yeah, Bacha, I'll see you next time. And you're looking forward to Acto. You're gonna be there. Oh my god, it's amazing. So as Uloko is saying, I'm participating in a talk about archaeology and cultural heritage. I'm gonna leave the details, like the profile, in here. Greetings from Fernando. Oh, Azizam! Greetings to him too! Oh, I hope you guys had an amazing time. So yeah, if you want to check the ARC talk that Uloko is talking about, you can go to the Instagram profile, and possibly later the sessions are going to be uploaded. I'm almost sure of that. But yeah, in case you want to check that one, and I will see you if you come, if you do attend, say hello. I'm going to be there on Saturday. And Bacha, just thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for the company. Thank you for the support. And I wanted to say goodbye, I always enjoy being with you, but I want to say goodbye as we normally do, which is, Bacha, remember, I'm so excited to say this again. Remember to create, to explore, and to have fun. Until I see you next time, I say to you, Khodafis!